This morning I was doing a little swimming in the pool. Very early. Pool was nice and calm. Just doing a lazy swim, taking in a little bit of fresh air, a little bit of exercise, and all of a sudden the pool was erupting. It was like the Atlantic Ocean. I was thinking, who is doing this? I just want a nice swim. So anyway, I saw he stopped at the end, and I said, what's going on? What's going on? Why are you making such a splash? And he said, it's what I do. I said, what do you mean it's what you do? And then I realized who it was. I did realize who it was. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if you could come and spend some time with 18,000 of your closest friend? So please welcome to the stage the most decorated Olympian in history. The most decorated swimmer, 28 Olympic medals, 23 golds, 3 silvers, 2 bronze. It is Mr. Michael Phelps. Yours.
All right. Thank you. Hello, and thank you guys. That was incredible. I felt like I was walking out for another swim meet. This feels like I was at Olympic trials again. Yesterday I was in front of a crowd of like 650, and this is a little bit bigger. It's my pleasure today to speak with y'all about my journey, which started with a single dream. Born and raised in Baltimore and grew up in Towson. Go Ravens, go O's. My mom was adamant that my sisters and I both got in the water just to learn to swim. She wanted us to be water safe. So now, I was just like a lot of kids, obviously afraid of the water, and I didn't want to get my face wet. So it's kind of hard to learn to swim when you don't get your face wet. But lucky for me, I had a great instructor. Her name is Miss Kathy Lears, and she was thoughtful, experienced, and she started me on my back. She allowed me to feel comfortable and confident in the water. And then kind of once I started relaxing and feeling more comfortable in the water, I turned over. And I guess you could say the rest is history. I was just 7 years old when I was introduced to the water, and at the age of 7, I kind of realized that this could change my life. I was into playing other sports. I played lacrosse, baseball, soccer, and then I quickly realized that I fell in love with the sport of swimming and water. I didn't get to where I am today on my own, and I sure as heck didn't get there on a smooth, straight road. As a young kid, I had a talent in the water, but I struggled a lot in the classroom. I could never sit still. I had trouble concentrating. It was tough for me. People never thought I had what it took, and they doubted me. I mean, even I had a middle school teacher, English teacher to be exact, who told me that I'd never amount to anything. And I can still tell you her name, but we'll keep that private. Little did they know, I was diagnosed with ADHD. And it wasn't that I couldn't do it, I just needed to do it a different way. And I'll be honest, it's not always easy listening to somebody tell you that you're never going to amount to anything. So I was a kid, and I needed to find something that I was passionate about, and it was the sport of swimming. I began in the water swimming, and it was peaceful for me, and to this day, it still is. So I started to swim more and more, and I guess I got faster and faster, and I swam even more laps and more miles. And from that point on, I was in love with the sport. And I decided that I wanted to do something that nobody else had ever done before. As I mentioned, Miss Kathy is the person who taught me how to swim, and I'll share more about her later on. It was my coach, Bob Bowman, who kind of helped me get started, taught me how to visualize, prepare, train, and race. He was the first person that really believed in me as a swimmer. I still remember the first day we ever met, and I can still tell you the set we did, and he'll tell you today that he was like a kid in a candy store. He was so excited by how the set went, and He actually told me when I first started swimming with him at 11 years old that I could become an Olympian, which is always what I wanted to do. I could become a multi-time Olympian, which sounded even cooler. He was the first person to introduce me to the idea of goal setting. He encouraged me to use my mind. It's a very powerful instrument. And he taught me to dream, and dream as big as I possibly could. I have a song that I used to always kind of compare it to, and I'm a huge Biggie Smalls fan. So a lot of people always laugh when I say this, but The Sky is the Limit. He has a song called The Sky is the Limit. And I truly believe that anything that you put your mind to and you're passionate about, you can achieve. Look, I can't flap my arms and fly. That's about it. Anything else, we can do. So for me, I had that dream of doing something that nobody else had ever done before. And he encouraged me. And he made me write my goals down on a piece of paper where I saw them every day. I mean, hell, after the 2016 Olympics, I go into my closet where my goals are, where I can see them every day. And I looked at Nicole, my wife, and I said, well, I had learned that I only accomplished one of my goals from Rio. So I texted my coach, and I was like, well, we got at least one. And his response back was, let it go, with a smiley face emoji and sunglasses. So we have a great relationship, but I was very happy after Rio. He stressed to me the importance of writing goals at a very young age and put them in a place where I can see them. I was taking ownership of my goals. I had a dream. I had goals. Now I needed a plan on how to get there. How can I put myself in the perfect position to be able to do something to make my dream come true? Bob and I developed a plan that went beyond what others were ever doing in the sport. If I really wanted to do something that nobody had ever done before, I had to work harder than anybody else was willing to work. In swimming, you usually train about 6 days a week, and you take one day off, usually Sundays. But the challenge with a day off in swimming is when you miss a day, it takes you 2 days to get back to where you were. So if you take one day off in a week, you're really only improving your conditioning and endurance 4 days a week. We decided not to skip a day. 7 days a week, 5 to 6 years, every single day. We called this making a deposit. Each training session was a deposit into the bank, which then when I got to an Olympics or World Championships, I was able to withdraw. Think about it, 1 session extra a week, more than anybody else is doing. 52 extra days a year. 260 extra days over 5 years that I was ahead of everybody else. I won my 7th gold medal in Beijing by 100th of a second. 100th. I put in the work. I made the deposits. I always made sure I withdrew everything, and at times, I might have had a couple overdrafts. It was hard for me to comprehend what I was accomplishing in the swimming pool. To this day, it still is. It hasn't truly hit me what I've done. I've had moments where it starts to sink in, but not completely. I always asked what my favorite moment, I've always been asked what my favorite moment or medal is. It's not an easy answer. My first gold medal is always something that I will always bring up. I'll never forget going to Athens and everybody was talking about, could he beat Spitz? Could he tie Spitz? For me, it was about winning my first gold medal. Now, it wasn't the most lavish memory, but at the Olympics, we're completely removed from our family and friends, and we really never get to see them. So here I am, I just won my first gold medal, and I can't share it with my family. I have another race tomorrow, but after the medal ceremony, we tried the hardest to find my mom and find my family. And I shared this medal with my mother, my first ever Olympic gold medal, through a chain-linked fence. That's how my mom and I shared my first gold medal. And I looked at her and I said, look, Mom, I did it. It was pretty hard to top that. A lot of my goals, yes, have been tied to medals, but that's not what my goals were. My goals were about hitting specific times. The medals, sure, are definitely icing on the cake. And I know if I hit my goals and my times, chances are that I would win. My point is, my goals weren't the medals, it was the time. In Beijing, I won 8 gold medals, but I didn't reach all my goals. Sure, I had done something that nobody had ever done before, which was one of my goals. But there were 2 times that I didn't achieve on my goal sheet, and I'm somebody who is extremely hard on myself, still to this day. I know a lot of people know me for winning 28 Olympic medals, and 23 of them are gold. Honestly, there was a period where I only saw myself as this guy who won a couple medals, but nobody knew the person. I was focused on pursuing my goals I had, and I had to make a lot of sacrifices in order to do so. I don't regret it, as it was what I needed to do in order to achieve my dreams. The ups and the downs have helped shape me to who I am today. Another one of my long-term goals was to change the sport of swimming. I always looked up to Michael Jordan and what he did in the sport of basketball. It was insane. For me, when I think of basketball, I think of him, that's it really, and what he did to make it what it is today. And that's what I wanted to do in the sport of swimming. I wanted to raise the profile, help bring more people into the sport. Swimming has given me so much, and I want others to see what the sport can do. I first started working with the Boys and Girls Club in 2001, and if you're around me long enough, I'm just a gigantic kid. This was the year after my first Olympics, and I wanted to try to show everyone that no matter what your background is or what you've gone through, that anything is possible. That's my whole message when I speak. I was a little kid with a dream, and here I am today. My mom worked in education, and spending time with children was a natural fit for me. So I started to spend more time just going to the clubs, talking, sitting, hanging out, just being me. Working with children became something that was easy for me. If you see me around a kid, I'm gonna have the biggest smile on my face, and it doesn't matter what age. I'm the happiest person in the world. So for me, after Beijing, I had an idea. I wanted to put the $1 million that I got for a bonus towards opening my foundation. And my foundation is to promote water safety. A stat that truly bothers me is that accidental drowning is the 2nd leading cause of death for children under the age of 14 in the United States. And it's the 3rd leading cause of accidental drowning for children globally. That shouldn't be, and this has to change. I was first introduced to the sport for water safety, and that was it, and I fell in love with the program. So today, through the Michael Phelps Foundation, we're helping bringing programming to kids, Boys and Girls Clubs, Special Olympics worldwide. Our signature program, it's water safety, it's recreational activities in the water, it's nutrition, it's goal setting. And today, I'm proud to say that water safety program, we're exposing these kids to the exact same way that I learned how to swim. Getting them comfortable, getting them confident. As I said, Miss Kathy, who first taught me how to swim and leads these swimming elements of the program. Today I am proud to share that the IM program is running in every single state, in Boys and Girls Clubs all over the country. 200 teams in 35 countries through Special Olympics International. We've reached over, thank you. We've reached over 16,500 kids to become water safe. But yes, it's great. It's an awesome number. I'm somebody who will never settle. I want more, and we all should want more. I know we can do it, and we can do it together. I can't stand reading stories about how kids die because they don't know how to swim. We live in Arizona, and last year, going through June, there was 10 drownings in the state of Arizona. I want to be able to save as many lives as we can. And just teach kids to be water safe. That's all it is. Now, I can honestly say I am retired. We are not coming back again. This is it. No more. I don't want to hear the 2020 chant. I've heard that too many times. I want to continue to inspire others to dream, and to dream big. The mind is a powerful tool, like I said earlier, but you also must put in the work and make the sacrifices and put deposits into the bank. Then you just get up and go. Try to accomplish them. Trust me, I've lived it. There are times in the morning where I wake up and pinch myself to see if my life is a reality. You can do that too. Thank you all for allowing me to share this opportunity with you and my journey, excuse me, not opportunity. You guys are making me nervous in front of these people. I'm usually in a swimsuit in front of this many people. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's the last goodbye, I swear. I have no regrets, for the past is behind me. Tomorrow reminds me just where.
Well, the first thing, when you said about you normally stand there in a swimsuit, there was a couple of ladies behind me said, couldn't we have arranged that?
I mean, I'm usually half naked in front of everybody, so that's how I've been my whole life. I don't know, in a swimsuit. It's weird. It's weird coming out here in front of this many people fully clothed.
You're truly glad that I'm not in a swimsuit. Hey, you know, I mean, this is a real privilege for me and an honor to be able to ask these questions, but I thought the first question I would ask was, it was reported by a European tabloid that in preparation for the Olympics, you were consuming 12,000 calories a day. Is that the real story?
Oh, it's not possible. You can't eat that much. I mean, I was probably eating, like, for 4 or 5 years, I was probably eating anywhere between 8 and 10. But that was still when I was growing, but I was constantly eating. And basically eating became a job. And it wasn't really a fun job after you just got crushed in 2 workouts plus a weight session. All I wanted to do was sleep. But no, it's crazy. There's so many people, like, that's probably the #1 question I get, is if I really eat 12,000 calories. And if I ate 12,000 calories now, I can tell you I'd probably be about 30 or 40 pounds heavier. And I have been there in my first retirement.
Hey, I'll take the 30 or 40 pounds, trust me. That's all right, I'm fine with that one. So the theme for our event is Own It. And, you know, we define that as utter perseverance, a determination, a will to win and to never lose. And obviously you've had that for such a long period of time. And these are the best of the best. These guys get up every single day and they compete aggressively. How did you maintain that? I'm going to stay on top for such a long time, because I think everybody would love to hear that.
I mean, to be honest, it's so easy to climb the mountain. It's easy. It's easy to just try to literally catch people every single day, or try to beat somebody every single day. And then you get to the top, it's even harder to stay at the top. You know, for me, that was the toughest part of my career. But also, I didn't want to lose. And as you heard, I mean, I went 5 or 6 years without missing a day. That's because I wanted to stay on the top. I wanted to make sure that I was doing something different, that nobody could beat me. Nobody could catch me. And honestly, it was the goals. You know, when I said I wanted to win 8 gold medals, people looked at me like I had 10 heads. Like, this guy's nuts. All the goals that I wrote down, I believed were achievable. I believed I could win 8 gold medals. I put in the work. So, you know, I think for me, goals were something that forced me out of bed every day. Because I can guarantee you there is not probably one person that says they're happy every day and want to get out of bed when they go to work. There are days we all have where we want to lay in bed and we want to hit snooze a couple times, or we don't want to go, or this or that. But if you have goals, you have to go. Because those goals are so special and so meaningful to you. They make you get out of bed. I feel like the greatest people do things when they don't always want to. You know, you look at, for me, like for athletes that I see, you look at the best athletes in the world. They don't get there by just rolling out of bed and going. They got to put work in. And not every day do they want to be there and be at their best. But if you can go every day and give your best, even when you don't feel good, it's going to make, you know, when you get to the end of your big competition, to the end of the year, it's going to show. It's going to show you did something. You know, I just read, God, what is it? Sorry, right into it. Is it the four agreements? I believe it's the 4 agreements. And it talks about that. It talks about, you know, every day, it's not, we don't feel 100%, right? But if you give something little, that's what I talk about when I make those little deposits. You're making those little tiny things go into the bank. And when you need to withdraw, you got backup. You've done everything to get there. But it's the goals that really keep me motivated, and even still to this day.
I mean, that's so relevant to what everybody in this room does every day.
I mean, you guys got to the top. Everyone's chasing you.
We have to stay there. That's the key thing.
You got to work together as a team, like you have done in the past, you know?
So I wanted to, you know, we talked earlier, and I try to think after you said that you trained every single day for 5 years without one day off. I mean, it's remarkable, absolutely remarkable. And again, you know, you'd worked out that if you did that, you had just a slight edge, and it was 1/100th of a second that you won. Those mornings, those dark mornings, how did you do it? How did you just you push yourself?
For me, I was very lucky to have the coach that I did. Him and I connected very well. And if you look at sports, like, there aren't many athletes and coaches that stay together for over 20 years. And I've been with my coach basically my whole career. So for him, it was nice because, well, at the time it wasn't really nice, but he prepared me for everything, no matter what he had to do. There were times where he purposely broke my goggles, like going up for a race. I was like, oh, gee, thanks, coach. But he was preparing me for everything that came my way. So for me, every time I went into workout, I can't tell you enough, I talk about and think about those little deposits. Because I want to do something nobody else has ever done before, I have to do things differently. I can't just follow the same ABC way. Like, I got to go, and I got to get my butt out of bed, and I got to force myself to be ready. You know, I had a race in 2008 where my goggles filled up with water. I swam basically 175 meters blind. But I reverted back to what I did in training. My coach, sometimes I thought he was absolutely crazy and had no idea what the hell he was talking about. But I guess it turned out that he was just helping me become this. And forever I'm thankful for everything he has done. You know, he's been a father figure my whole life, and he's gotten me to places I only dreamt of.
Did you have those goggles on this morning when we swam together?
I was just trying to blow you out of the water with the waves.
You know, in your book you talk about the tough stretch of your life and when things didn't go perhaps the way you wanted them. Just tell us a little bit about it, and you know how you got through it. And
which part? Which one? I've had a couple. How much time you got? You know, like I said earlier, my path has not always been straight and hasn't always been smooth. I found myself in a couple of dark places and have gone through several stages of depression. Most recent, I didn't want to be alive anymore. So for me, it's been a struggle, but it's been a learning process, and it's helped me become who I am today. There were times where I literally could not look at myself in the mirror. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like who I saw. I had no self-confidence. I had no self-love. I just felt like this kid that was good at swimming could go up and down. So I made a goal to myself, and I wanted to show and find out who I really was. So I went through a little treatment and was able to kind of just enjoy me and like who I see in the mirror. And somebody doesn't like me, I just get over it. I mean, I literally remember sitting there one night and I said, I'm going to show the world who the real Michael Phelps is. And I think for part of my career, I guess you can say I quote unquote had a mask. You know, I was just going through the motions, and I was always so regimented to go bang, 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 right one thing into the next. And you know, I think the people who watch the Olympics, you know, and swimming, I think I was happier this time around. You know, part of it obviously is because I have a family. But it was the things that I'd gone through that helped me become, like I said, who I am. And I think it was cool because I actually talked to everybody on the Olympic team. Usually I never talked. Nobody, like, I just didn't really talk to many people. I had too many events and I was so focused on what I was doing. So when it came around for like voting for captains, I just knew I never got any votes. So this time around, I actually got votes to become a captain, which I was pretty excited about in my last Olympics. And I got to carry the flag. So, you know, for me, being able to find out who I really am and enjoy who I am truly changed my life. And you know, every day I get to wake up and go see the little dude, and you know, we get to run around and eat breakfast together. He comes with me to get coffee in the morning, and you know, honestly, I could say if I knew life was this good, I would have gone through some stages a long time ago. But life is life, and it's supposed to happen how it happens. So I'm very thankful for you know, the things that I've gone through. A lot of people say, would you change anything? I say, absolutely not. No way. What I went through, yeah, it was absolute hell at times. But you know what? I can look at myself today and love who I am. And that's the best part.
That's great. That is great. So I've got to ask you this. What's the best day you remember in your career? The one day.
One, my swimming career? Jesus. Honestly, I think my greatest race of my career, I'll say that, my greatest race of my career is the 200 fly from Rio. After getting beat in 2012 by Chad Leclos from South Africa, and I got revenge. You know, for a long time, I purposely didn't watch that race because it just drove me insane. I just hated it. I screwed up the third wall, but I deserved to get second. I prepared for that moment, and obviously Chad worked harder than I did. So for me, when I came back, that was one event that I wanted back. I wanted that gold medal more than anything. And, you know, being able to get it by another couple of hundredths, another race by a couple of hundredths of a second, that was the most exciting race, I think, for me in my career. I mean, you can put the 200 free in Beijing, the 100 fly in Rome when I was sitting on the lane line and pumping my chest like I was some barbaric creature. Like, it was, I mean, it was insane. But I've had so many amazing days, and I would say probably the best day in my life was, outside of my career, was watching Boomer be born. I think that was the best day of my life for sure.
So you talked about the foundation. You know, those statistics staggered me. They really did. That so many children lose their lives through drowning. So, you know, I applaud the foundation.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit more, and, you know, maybe how 18,000 people may be able to help.
You know, like I said, for me, in 2008, I decided to open the foundation, and honestly, like, it's just simple water safety. Like, I mean, my son basically knows how to swim. Like, you know, he's been in the water since 3 months, 4 months, and it's like, you know, he gets in and he's comfortable with it. So I'm not worried when he's around water. You know, I think that's one thing that my mom truly wanted us to do. And she did it, and we just ended up falling in love with the sport. I don't care if people swim or not. I just want them to learn. I want to save life. So for us, we have a couple components that we work with, like I said, goal setting, eating right, kind of giving them the opportunity to use certain things to help them through their lives. A lot of the boys and girls clubs from the Boys and Girls Club, their parents aren't always around, or they're in prison. So, but I think that's kind of my point. I didn't have the perfect life to get to where I am. Nobody does. What is the definition of a perfect life? Can anybody say, like, everybody has ups and downs every day, you know? So I just want to show that it's able, you know, you're able to do whatever you want and whatever you put your mind to. And we're instrumenting and starting to bring in mental health into that as well. You know, we have a massive project that we're working with called MediBio, and it's a wearable device that's FDA approved and works off of your circadian rhythms, and it lets you know when you're going down the wrong way or you're feeling good, just so you can be aware. If you need to talk to somebody about something, talk to them. It's okay to not be okay. Trust me. I've had the worst days of my life from it, and I've had the best days of my life from it. And I'm still here to talk about it. And, you know, I think going through depression kind of really helped me, because mental health disorders are so major worldwide. We have over 1 million suicides each year. 30% of people are diagnosed the right way. It's got to change. So that's another thing for me, it's fun because I've gone through it and I've experienced, and I found myself in the darkest place possible. So hopefully we can help just save lives.
That's fantastic. So, one more question, and then we're going to do a quick fire round. But the question is, everybody here faces some really, really tough competitors every single day, and they get out of that bed in the morning and they have a focus to go and beat that competitor. Who was the one competitor that you had that you said, that's the person I have to beat?
Myself.
So true.
You know, like I said, you know, like, I can't control what other people do. Like, I just got to prepare myself the best way I possibly can. And like I said, I knew if I did that, I was probably going to win. And I didn't want to get second or third. So I forced myself to work as hard as I could, to beat other people, to work harder than them, to do things differently than them. I was not a fan of losing. I mean, I remember as a kid, I threw temper tantrums all over the pool deck. Oh, I don't do that anymore. I might just get quiet, but I'm still competitive in everything that I do. And I was probably my worst critic. So it's, I mean, even like my wife said this to me yesterday. She says, when you're talking, try not to put your hands in your pockets so much. And I was like, I know. I was thinking about it when I got off stage, but that's just me. That's my personality. That's how I work. It's a good thing and a bad thing, I guess.
Quick fire round. I'm going to mention a few things. Just one word. I want one sort of word answers.
Uh-oh.
England.
London?
Your coach, Bob.
Oh gosh, I could say so many. Good and bad. Caring.
Your son, Boomer.
The world.
Your dog.
Which one?
Herman.
My little baby, my little English. Just the best. I mean, he was a monster.
So, you know, it's been a real privilege to have you here.
Thank you.
I guess we all want to say a big thank you. I think what you do and the way you applied yourself is so relevant to all of us every single day. And I just want to say thank you for being here. And thank you for being.
And honestly, like I said to y'all, it's so easy to climb the mountain, but it's hard to stay there. Remember those good times and how it feels to beat somebody else. Wow, that might sound bad. But you know, stay at the top and use everybody around you. You guys are obviously doing amazing things, and there's a reason why you're #1. Please, please, I want to say thank you, and keep up the hard work and the success that you guys have done. This was an honor, and this is actually really cool. This is probably one of the coolest talks I've ever done. Pretty fun.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Phelps. Michael.